Welcome to the IVM Podcast Network.
Hi, welcome to IVM Likes. Today we have Amit.
Hello.
And Naveen in the studio.
Hey.
Hi guys. We're doing this quick discussion today about things we've enjoyed. Of course, TV, book and a movie. And then later on we'll go into a conversation about things we secretly enjoy. Let's start with Naveen.
Yes.
He's going to recommend a movie we should watch.
Definitely. I think one of the my rituals every year is that I watch this movie when the year starts and then never watch it again for the whole year. But then I have to watch this movie called The Renaissance Man. I don't know if you've heard about it.
Yeah.
And it's got a very low IMDb rating for some reason. I've been very perplexed about why.
This is the Nicolas Cage movie.
No, this is a Danny DeVito movie where he goes to an army school.
I love that movie. I've seen that 100 times.
Yeah, and I'm like, every person I speak to, they're like, no, we haven't watched the movie. I'm like, why? It's an amazing, it's drama, comedy, romance, everything, and it's Danny DeVito as the lead role. It's just,
Wow.
So basically, this guy is an ad agent who loses his job, so he basically has to now teach a bunch of army school kids, and they're called double Ds, which means dumb as dog shit.
Okay.
That's why they're called double Ds. And these guys have no idea. They go on the battlefield, but they need the certain, grammar requisite to pass.
Okay.
So basically, he starts teaching these kids Shakespeare. And then at the end, the whole thing comes together. It's such a nice, warm, beautiful movie, and I wish everybody watched it, but nobody watches it. So
Why? What's the criticism against it if it has a low rating on IMDb?
the criticism is that it's mostly very slow.
Okay.
About the fact, and then some of the actors are not on par with Danny DeVito. That's true.
I enjoyed the movie. I've seen a lot, right? Because now when you're telling me, but it's not a great movie. This should actually probably have been one of your guilty pleasures.
No, what I'm saying, it's a beautiful movie. There's an entire scene in the rain where he starts quoting Hamlet. Like he takes out a prose from Shakespeare and starts doing it in the rain while they're doing the drills. And that is, I think, that gives me goosebumps every time.
Why do you watch it every year though? What is the deal?
It's a thing. It became a thing like a few years ago, and then like every time anybody asks me what's your favorite movie of all time, I think of like Shawshank maybe or this and that. But then this is the one movie that I've always like.
Your real favorite
my
movie.
real favorite. I have this thing for Danny DeVito. I don't know. Yeah. It's just so adorable and cuddly. And there's a scene where he talks about how Shakespeare used to have male actors play female roles, and he does the whole thing, and he looks at one of the guys and just does this thing with his eyebrows. It's so cute. I'm like, who wouldn't want to cuddle this guy?
That's such a weird reaction to Danny DeVito.
So, let me tell you how I watched this movie so many times. So, when I was in college in that time, so you used to get pay-per-view as part of your cable subscription in the US. And for some reason, for 2 months, all pay-per-view stuff was open to me.
Nice.
And this movie used to be on pay-per-view all the time.
Same with India. Z Studios to play this and we had this thing with the set-top box where we only had one English channel. It was Z Studios. So every time I played those Renaissance Man, I'm like, I'm glad.
Okay, so next up is Amit.
Right. So I got a book. So it's a book by Patrick Weeks called The Palace Job. So it's a really interesting, fun book. It's kind of like Ocean's 11 meets fantasy, kind of this thing. And so the basic storyline is about a ex-army captain, female, who's in jail at the time. She gets arrested trying to steal something from the palace, and then she escapes, and then she puts together a crew, and then they go out and steal the palace.
Oh, okay.
Or they steal what they need to from the palace. So, I mean, it's a very Ocean's 11 gang growing kind of this. But what's fun about it is some of the characters in it are really weird, right? So there is one of the characters is a ancient war hammer. So it's like an actual hammer that keeps making noises, and that's one of the characters.
Wow.
Another character.
It's a living hammer.
It's a living hammer.
Damn.
Another character is a unicorn who is actually a shapeshifter, or rather, it's a unicorn, but a unicorn in this world is a shapeshifter. So she can be whatever she wants to. Sometimes she's a bird, sometimes she's a
What do you mean in this world?
Well, I mean, it's a fantasy world, right? So
As in she's a unicorn in which other world?
No, as in she's in this world. This world created by the author Patrick Weeks.
She's a unicorn that is a shapeshifter.
So a unicorn in this world is a shapeshifter.
Oh,
Generally, a unicorn is not a shapeshifter,
okay.
right? But in this particular world, a unicorn is a shapeshifter.
Usually their blood keeps Voldemort alive. That's the only...
But so then one character is a unicorn, another character is a death priestess who basically is able to raise zombies and stuff like that. Another character is a acrobat who is the most ridiculous martial artist, but he's taken a vow of non-violence. So he will never hit a human being, but the second he comes up against like these magical constructs, he just like lays stuff down on them.
Wow.
It's just like it's a really fun, like, gang of group getting together, doing some stuff kind of thing. And it's a really interesting made world as well. The palace that they are supposed to be attacking is actually based on a floating island, or it's a floating mountain. It's not even an island. So, and it's so high, it's not even funny. So I mean, like, so you have to go up and down by airship.
Wow.
So like Avatar called.
Yeah, sounds very complicated.
So it's I'm making it sound more complicated,
but
it's a
sounds
lot of fun.
Yeah.
It's a really fun book to read. So
The characters, really.
Yeah.
unique.
What is it called again?
So the book is called The Palace Job, and there's a sequel called The Prophecy Job.
Okay, and the authors?
The author is named Patrick Weeks.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
That sounds interesting. Will I get that on like a Kindle?
Yeah, of course.
Will totally get it.
It's actually free if you have the Kindle Unlimited thing.
Oh, okay. I'm going to recommend a TV show now. It's called Chewing Gum. It's now available on Netflix, so you can watch it on Netflix India. Chewing Gum is this British show about this black girl who comes from a very Catholic restricted family.
Okay.
You know, she hasn't ever had sex. She can't basically do anything she wants. She can't drink. Everything is a sin. And her mother is like a preacher.
Rings a bell.
Yeah. Naveen just feeling personal about it. So the 6 episodes are just her trying to explore the world because she doesn't care about any of this. And it's so well done because it's very slapstick comedy. She has really weird understandings of how sex works or how anything works, and the way she goes about trying to find it is hilarious. And it's very set up. Like
Okay.
every episode sets it up to like, this week she's going to somehow do some MDMA by mistake. She's accidentally going to initiate a threesome with somebody.
Again rings a bell.
Every episode, both experiences. You should watch Chewing Gum. There'll be some familiarity.
In India, it's chewing gum, by the way. You can't say chewing gum in India. It's a no.
Anyway, so the cast of the show, I've never seen them anywhere else. But the girl who plays the lead is Michelle Cole. Everybody else around, the cast is incredible. It's a very small, you can see that it's a small budget TV show because there's at best maybe 10 other characters and 6 of them are important and everybody else isn't. It's only 6 episodes. But it's done so well and it's so funny, and they play her naivety about life in such a overt, like completely slapstick way that you don't feel like, oh my god, she really suffered knowing nothing, but it's actually just hilarious. And she has this habit, this actress, she's really pretty, but in the show they've like accentuated her lips to look really big. And she has this way of like opening her mouth when she's trying to have sex with somebody, and it's just done in the most gross and funny way. She'll try to like eat his nose because she has no idea what she's doing. So that is my recommendation, Chewing Gum.
There's something I want to slide in between, like
Yes.
another TV show people should watch is Doug Gently's Holistic Investigation Agency.
Yes. Also on
It's
Netflix.
also on Netflix, and again, like 8 episodes you can be done in a binge watch time.
It's Douglas Adams' book.
Yeah, Douglas Adams'
Yeah,
book.
yeah.
Max Landis adapted it for TV.
Yeah.
It has Elijah Wood and Samuel Barnett,
Yeah.
who at the start is too over the top, and then you realize why he's like that. It's a great show.
Okay. Now we're going to talk a little bit about things we secretly like.
Yes.
We're talking not what I like to call guilty pleasures, but that's the term to be used.
Yeah, basically stuff that you would
I'm not guilty about it at all.
I don't feel that guilty about it, but I do feel a little embarrassed about that. Yeah, this is something that I enjoyed.
I feel like it's a show that we don't have to defend to people or recommend to people, but we just enjoy it.
I
and
enjoy
that's
it,
fine.
exactly. Yeah, it's junk, but I enjoy it.
Yeah.
I
So,
enjoy junk.
do you want to recommend
Sure,
a show that you love
I'll start
as
with
junk?
the one. So I was stuck at home for the last month a little bit, or at least for half of the month. And nothing to do but watch stupid shit on Netflix. So while looking for stupid shit on Netflix, I found this show called Zoo. It is the most ludicrous conceptual show you could possibly imagine. It's like what happens when animals get a virus and all of a sudden they decide that we're not going to take it from the humans anymore, and they start attacking. and like all of them start attacking, and they start like everyone.
Wow, how did they shoot this? As in, is it like, is it...
So
real
it's
animals.
bad special effects for some of it.
Okay.
some decent special effects. So they do a decent job as long as they're not trying to get the humans and the animals to interact.
Okay.
If the animals are far away, you got decent special effects. But once the animals come up to the humans, they're slappable.
So like somebody read only the first part of Animal Farm and went
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah.
No, so it's
Like,
actually,
yeah, they hate it.
No, and
Now
I mean,
they're
like,
going to attack us.
it's animals like you would not be like all kinds of. So I mean, like it's lions and tigers and cheetahs and buffaloes and all of that. Yes, but it's also stuff like ants and like birds and like pigeons.
That
and
sounds
like,
really interesting though, because the small animals attacking is like
yeah,
a...
exactly.
big
And
deal.
it's like house cats. Like all the house cats and pets and stuff like that are all attacking, and it's like
But aren't house cats already evil? Like they do weird and evil stuff.
They don't outwardly portray it,
Yeah.
but here now they have
They
like...
have reason,
yeah,
legit reason.
They have
yeah.
reason to
They've
do it.
broken the walls of decency.
Or scratch them.
So,
Yeah.
but yeah, so it's
Slowly.
basically a really it's a cheesy show. It's based on like one of the James Patterson co-written books. I mean, he co-writes books with like everybody and their uncle. So it's based on like one of his co-written books, and it's just it's a decent star cast. At least some of them are decent, right? I mean, like it's got Billy Bean in it, who was Revolution and a whole bunch of other things. And yeah, so I mean, like it's fun, and yeah, I mean, like I am kind of embarrassed that I enjoyed it as much as I did, but I really I like knocked it out in 3 days. I mean,
Yeah.
like and
Yeah.
that's as fast as I ever go. So yeah, that's what I got.
All
Yeah,
right.
one Naveen.
I want to go Indian on this.
Oh,
And
okay.
I've got 5 words for you all. Tarak Mehta ka Ulta Chashma.
Oh God.
That's it. See what it does. The thing is, see, I started watching it when I was a kid. And the show's been on for a long time.
Yeah.
And I started watching it just out of like general curiosity.
Yeah.
Again, like set-top box thing. So like
Yeah.
huge channels. So, and sub TV was there. So like I started watching it, and now I'm kind of like, I like it. Like whenever I'm at home and the TV is on, my parents are not watching something else, I go to sub TV because they always have that on.
Yeah.
There's always
Correct.
sub TV
Does
on.
it give you like warm feelings?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
I'm like, Jedalal is still cool.
That's cool, I guess.
Yeah, and he's a good actor. Like Dilip Joshi is actually
Yeah.
only for like to see him get frustrated with all the people around him.
Yeah.
I think that's what the show's motive is. Like they showed all these annoying characters with annoying stereotype,
Correct.
typical sounds. Every time like Sardarji will have oh Papa Ji behind him and everything.
Yeah.
But I think all of it comes together when Jedalal is the
Center
center of the
Yeah.
character, and he's annoyed with all these people. And I'm like, yeah, I would be in the same position.
Correct.
But I enjoy the fact that he gets annoyed and everything, and his wife is also annoying. So like, but the fact that I enjoy every time it's my niece loves it. My niece is 11 and she loves it. So I want to sit down and like that's one of her things now.
Yeah.
And I have to like watch it. So I
You
really
have to.
I have to, and I enjoy it as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's one of the guilty pleasures
Right.
that I have.
My guilty pleasure is generally all kinds of reality shows. I love them because you don't have to look at the screen. You don't have to consume them
Right.
constantly. But I still care about I care about the winners and the seasons.
Okay.
So my favorite one of all time is Project Runway. I have watched 18 seasons.
Oh my god.
I think 18,
Okay,
yes.
that's a lot.
And I watched all of them multiple times.
That's beyond my understanding. at
Because
that
I
point.
love some of the characters and some of the themes. You can see that the show has gotten so much better. It's evolved so much. Earlier they would do really stupid themes, like go on the street and design your clothes for a dog and stuff. And then they would do like in the last season they had like what it looked like in ultraviolet light, light. So it has to change in the rain.
What is his name? He's
Heidi Klum, who?
No, the gay guy in the
Christian Siriano from last year,
Tim
from last
something.
to last.
Tim
Yeah,
something.
Oh,
Tim
Tim
Gunn.
Gunn.
Tim Gunn.
Tim Gunn is the mentor.
Mentor, right? Yeah.
He has the classic line which is like, make it work. How have you not heard this, guys?
Because
He says, make it work.
He's got a lot of sassy lines and with a lot of internet memes around him.
That's true.
But I always confuse that with America's Next Top Supermodel or something.
Correct. That's also a very different show.
Yeah.
But Project Runway has great guests.
Yep.
Like they had Michael Kors, who was so sassy. It was amazing.
Okay.
Then they replaced him with Zach Posen, who's also good. Heidi Klum is always great.
That
somehow.
made a career in general.
Yeah, she is great at it. All the contestants are sometimes like after 18 seasons so stereotypical,
Right.
but they will still do some amazing stuff to surprise you. You're like,
Okay.
I know this guy, gay guy hates everybody. I know this black woman is going to lose her mind at some point and have a breakdown. They're so stereotypical, and you can just like, it's a suing show, right?
Okay.
So it's a 55-minute show. First 5 minutes they set up the challenge. I see that. then there's just stitching happening for like 40 minutes or something, 30 minutes.
You're engrossed in it.
Then
Is that like meditative? I mean,
it is.
It's like MasterChef for tailors.
Yeah.
Exactly. I love MasterChef also. And you just watch it and like things are happening, some dresses are coming together and something, and then you walk you watch the runway and the winner, and it's great. I also watch all kinds of cooking shows.
Yeah.
I watch Chopped, I watch MasterChef, I watch Top Chef.
Jamie Oliver.
I watch Jamie Oliver, I watch Chef's Table. I just love watching things I cannot eat as a vegetarian and from a TV screen, obviously. It's just like, reality show is very meditative. It's very calming.
Yeah, no.
I know it's garbage.
Yeah.
It's complete garbage.
So there's one which I feel the same way about it, and I feel like meditative, right? I again, it's not something I would think of as a good show. It's a car. So I'm not even into cars. Okay, I'm not a car guy at all. But there's this show called West Coast Customs, right? Which is it's a play, or rather, it's a sequel, or a sequel of a sequel of a sequel from the first car, which was the first show called Pimp My Ride.
Oh,
yeah, of course.
Yeah. So it's the same guys from.
Come on, VH1.
Yeah, I watched it on VH1.
So the guys who do Pimp My Ride, basically the car guys from that, they have evolved. So now they do a show called West Coast Customs, and they basically do customized cars for big celebrities
They have a
or
shop
big
now,
corporations.
basically.
Massive shop.
Yeah.
So they'll do a car for like Mark Wahlberg, or they'll do a car for.
Like how even
Marky
Marky
Mark.
first.
I can't help it.
No other name.
That's Marky Marks what comes to my head, but they'll do one for him. They'll do one for Will.i.am. They'll do one for just all these big kind of Justin Bieber. They did like a really, Justin Bieber's got taste, man. They did like a really nice looking car for him. But so I mean, it's the same kind of thing. It's nonsense, right?
Yeah.
It's absolute rubbish.
Yeah, you have to see the beginning
But-
and the end of it, but the middle is just.
But it's the middle
you
is
can do
just
other
like
things.
you're just
zone
like
out a bit.
zoning on it.
Yeah,
And that's why
like I
do
never
that.
understood why people watched like LA Inc.
Oh shit, it was on my mind. Like I was going to say LA Inc.
Right.
right
But that's
now.
the same kind of show,
Yeah,
right?
it's the same kind of show.
Same kind of
I
thing.
don't. Who
They come with a
cares?
concept, then he's like drawing on his arm for like the next half an hour. And I want to see what's happening in it. I don't want to see how his baby looks on his arm.
I know. I never understood the show. All right. Any other guilty pleasures like in
I
books
think-
and stuff?
Sure, I can give you a book one too. So there is a series of books called the Demon Accord series by John Conroe. As you can tell, I read fantasy and science fiction.
Yeah.
That's what I do. This book is such trash. It is trash on the level of like Charlaine Harris, who wrote like the True Blood books. Just complete and utter trash, but I can't stop reading them. I'm like 11 or 12 books into the series, and it's just, I mean,
You're 11 or 12 books into the series.
yeah, and I can't believe I can
What is
not.
this commitment to bad shit?
No,
Inner
it's not
Queen is-
bad. It's,
Oh, okay, yeah.
it's bad in the sense that I mean, like, if you look at it from an objective perspective, you have a hero who is becoming so ridiculously overpowered that nobody's ever going to read this, so I don't care. I'll spoil this shit, right? The hero of the story actually pulls an asteroid down from Earth's orbit and like bombs an estate in New
I
Hampshire.
hope we get some emails saying, "What the hell, man? I was just at the 9th book or something."
Yeah, the asteroid was just in the orbit. Now it's blown up.
But it's like, you have these characters who are like so ridiculously overpowered, and that's like a big no-no when you're looking at speculative fiction. Characters always have to have struggles, right? I mean, like, and the struggles need to be
The
with
arc
their
is-
abilities.
Yeah.
If the character is extremely overpowered, that turns into generally a very boring kind of story.
Yeah.
It's really well written, exciting, right? You know what I mean? Like the action sequence,
Yeah.
one,
Yeah.
and they're all like really well dynamic.
Yeah.
The stuff is going on. They have so there's this concept in so TV Tropes has this thing called crowning moments of awesome,
Right.
which is like basically this thing where you have a setup and then all of
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
massive and awesome kind of happens. So the author does those really well.
Okay.
And so it's like, it's not what you would consider an objectively great story, but it's
Right.
just so much fun to read.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
But that's not bad.
Yeah, so the Demon Accord series by John Conroe.
So basically, everybody just likes something that is like lizard brain and you can just zone
Yeah,
out and
exactly.
it doesn't matter.
That's exactly it.
I'm surprised nobody, I mean, actually, congratulations, nobody mentioned Splitsvilla or, the likes.
But that's passé
Or
now.
Big Boss.
No, nobody.
know.
Like, because, see, Indian reality does not like play in the background. As I said, you need something to like basically
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
eat
that's a
your
good
food.
point.
Oh,
They're
that's true.
screaming there as
Yeah,
well. There's
that's a
Correct.
great
And there's a lot of
Bindra.
twists and turns happening.
Yeah.
There's like
Twist
active
and
music.
turns, there's like, ta-ta-ta.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dolly Bindra is there screaming at your face. Then you can't.
My God, Dolly Bindra was season 1 or something.
what?
This is like season 8 of Big Boss is on.
No, she was there in the later season.
Really?
I watched the first season of Big Boss. I
The one
remember
with
it.
Rakhi Sawant?
Yeah,
I watched that one also.
That's why I picked up Oh Jesus.
Yeah, I know. But that phase was a really bad phase for just generally Indian reality TV.
On
That's when I
B-list.
think they did Indian Idol for a bunch of years too, around that same time.
Indian Idol was good. So this year on Indian Idol, because it wasn't working for so many years, they brought back the original judges, Farah, Anu and Sonu Nigam.
Ah,
Oh my
okay.
God.
Yeah. Original.
Anu Malik. There was one time where he made like कि अभी हम देखते हैं हम कैसे गाना बनाते हैं and he's like embarrassing himself throughout. Okay, and this is on screen where he's like तू मुझे एक word दे, तू मुझे एक beat
I know, I
दे,
remember.
and he's making a terrible song up in the movie. And I'm like, just go die, Anu Malik. Oh God.
The voice though is quite okay.
Yeah.
The kids one was really good.
So I actually like the American,
The American
voice.
The American voice is also
Yeah,
very good.
so there's one song from that which I actually bought on iTunes and I listen to fairly regularly. I can't remember the name of the singer right now, but it was basically an opera version of Bridge Over Troubled Water.
Oh, nice.
It was so well done. I mean, like I heard it. I'm like,
Yeah.
I need this song.
Yeah,
so
they
I
put some
went to
really good
iTunes,
quality
bought
there.
it, and like I listen to that
Yeah.
pretty regularly still.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
All right, cool. That was the end of this episode.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
We'll come back next week to talk more pop culture.
Other stuff, yeah.
Thank you for listening to IVM Likes. There'll be a brand new episode every Wednesday. You can find us on iTunes, Audio Boom, and any other podcasting apps you use. If you have shows and books and albums you want to recommend to us, please find us on social media. We're IVM Podcasts. And if you're feeling particularly nice, please do leave us a review on iTunes. We really appreciate it.
Hey man, just help me out, man. I need some podcast, man. I haven't had a fix in a week. Just need some.
Don't you worry about it. I got podcast galore for you, man. Just go to ivmpodcast.com. You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Thanks, man. I'm gonna check it out.